Let me do one thing. Let me move this fan. Didn't grind that hard today, but still, this is the time I could get to do the video. My hair's not combed. Just took a bath, came out of the shower, got something to eat. And while I'm eating, I'll talk boxing. All right, so Jared Anderson is not overrated. Okay. But he needs to be moved along a little more slowly as of now. Top Rank's doing a good job with him. Okay. Now, Jared Anderson faced a former heavyweight champion who only had 2 losses. He lost to, not 2 knockouts, sorry. He was knocked out by Anthony Joshua, and he was knocked out by King Kong Ortiz. All right? But in that fight with King Kong Ortiz, he dropped him twice. He was going in for the kill. King Kong Ortiz hurt him bad. The momentum changed, and King Kong Ortiz was able to finish him. In the case of Anthony Joshua, he crossed the seas to face Anthony Joshua. He wasn't doing bad in the fight. You knew Joshua looked like he had the upper hand as the rounds were going by. The stoppage, I think, was premature. And that's how he lost his title. He was starting to get into stride with Joshua. My point anyway is, Charles Martin is a very good boxer. He lost to some other people, but not by knockout, not by stoppage. Now remember, Jared Anderson hadn't faced anybody of that level. You guys are behaving like this wasn't a step-up fight. And last notice step-up fight. Okay? So, remember, Jared's just a prospect. 15 fights in, he's not a contender. I think he now entered the top 10. The bottom half of the top 10. So he's just still a prospect. So Teddy Atlas is being very mean. Okay? Because this guy, he got this caliber of opponent, which was better than than the opponent that he was supposed to have. Last minute. Couple days. Okay? The guy was ready because he was preparing for a fight and he was staying ready. So, on the side of Charles Martin, this is a veteran with a lot of experience. All right? So, people had unrealistic expectations about Jared Anderson washing this guy. That was never going to happen. Charles Martin's been stopped twice in his career. That's it. The guys who stopped him have serious power. Anthony Joshua, and that was a premature stoppage, and King Kong Ortiz. Everybody knows King Kong Ortiz knocked out almost everybody he faced. So I don't understand. And in that fight, actually, Charles knocked him down twice and was going in for the kill. Now, there are levels to the sport of boxing. You can't expect a prospect to go up against a former world champion, a veteran of the sport with a lot of experience, who has faced the top guys in the sport of boxing, who hasn't really deteriorated that much, and expect him to just wash him. That's an unrealistic expectation. But what it tells us is He's not quite at the level of like an Andy Ruiz. He's not quite at the level yet of a Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, etc. Right? That's all it says. He still has some work to do. That's all it says. People in boxing today are being very, very mean. Teddy Atlas is very reckless with his words, and he's very mean with his words. All right? Just means going back to the lab and doing your homework. Now, go study also. You had Charles Martin, you were in the ring with him. Watch at his subtleties, pick up some of the subtleties from him. Having fought him, talk to him, ask him questions. Notice Charles Martin took him under his wing afterwards and talked to him. Devin Haney, when he fought Jorge Linares, he asked him afterwards for information. When you fight a veteran, a skilled veteran, you always try to pick their brains, understand, learn. And having fought them, you will learn things from them. Boxing's a learning sport, y'all. Y'all treating this kid as if he's an established world champion already. He hasn't even become world champion. He hasn't even been a contender. Give the boxers time to grow. The Cuban boxer, I forgot what his name is. Very good. Seasoned. But he been in Cuba fighting all the time. These Cuban boxers, when they come across here, they're already ready for the pros because they've been fighting all the time. Jared Anderson's not been fighting all the time like that. He's still learning on the job. Okay? So we need to be more reasonable. He's working at a high level. He got past his test. He has some variety in his guards and defense because he's very aggressive. When you're aggressive like that, and when you're trying to walk down a fighter, you're going to get hit. How he handled that was very good. You know, he held. Tried to contain his opponent. A lot of people out here say a lot of stupid stuff. And sometimes even the pros, I can't even believe the pros be saying that nonsense. Because I don't expect somebody of Teddy Atlas' stature to be so mean. And he's being mean. Okay? He's still learning. So he's not going to be at the level of Deontay Wilder or whatever. He's 23 years old, ladies and gentlemen. 23. Man, these people, man. Give the guy a chance to develop. Devin Haney, when Jorge Linares, again a veteran of the sport. Devin Haney slipped up, Jorge Linares pounced on him. That's what veterans do. Haney held and he also fought back. He did the right stuff. That doesn't make Haney less of a fighter. You understand? He fought Vasily Lomachenko. He learned a lot facing Lomachenko. He's not going to look the best that he ever looked because it's Lomachenko. But he get the experience. Now, with that experience, he can up his game. Okay? So all those people trying to write off Jared Anderson, what's wrong with you people, man? He's still developing. as a fighter. He's still learning as a fighter. He's still honing his craft. This was the best thing that could happen to him. Fighting at home. The added pressure. Now having that experience, if it ever happens again, he'll know how to navigate it better. In boxing, the most important thing is experience, knowledge. And you could only do that, you could only get knowledge by doing. Not through talking. You have to experience it. That's an invaluable experience he just got. Because he was not supposed to face that level of opponent so soon. Pass the test. Still needs not to jump into another top 10 guy like that, but he needs to work on some things. So he may need a lighter touch to work on some stuff. And boxing is about having an insatiable desire to get better and to learn. Key is listening and learning from your opponents who you fought, to your coaches, your trainers, to other people in the field who are successful. Devin Haney has that attitude. I hope that Jared has that same attitude, Jared Anderson. And I hope he doesn't slouch on his work ethic, training, conditioning, etc. If he slouches on those things, now that's a critical concern. I heard him say that he wasn't working his conditioning for this fight. He was just mostly boxing or training or whatever. You don't do that in boxing. You don't cheat boxing. You gotta be in the lab working every day on the things that matter. You have to have an insatiable desire to get better. His goal is to become world champion. And that journey may take him a couple more years, right? So, in the meantime, he's growing and developing on this journey. Devin Haney is also a young guy. He's only 24 years of age. He's learning rapidly, and he's getting the competition to push him to the next level. Remember, and this is a very critical point I'm trying to make. It's not theoretical, it's literal. This is why we talk about level of opposition. When you beat a high level opponent, it carries your game to another level. Being a world champion is not the thing that carries you to the next level, even though it's a mentality thing. It's the opposition now that you consistently face. This is why they say you're not really a world champion until you had your first successful defense. Because now you got to face somebody who's either a contender or world champion themselves, or former world champion. It's a certain level of opponent now. You can't go down. You understand? That's what takes your game up. That's what elevates your game, your knowledge. That's why we talk about boxers that have a lot of championship experience, a lot of championship fights. Because at that level now, you can't get nobody lower. It's got to be either a contender or a fellow champion, or a former world champion. That's how it goes. And that's the experience Shakur doesn't have like that, especially at lightweight. He doesn't have it. But Haney does. And experience makes a difference. It elevates a boxer's game. You could be technically sound and all of that, but the mentality, the way to navigate a situation, championship experience, and experienced boxers, and all the little intricacies of boxing. You know, all the little crafty things they do in the clinch, and so on, and so on, and so on. You know, the rhythm changes, and being able to see, the eye to see when a guy's out of position, or he just relaxed too much, etc. You get that veteran eye. So boxing is a sport where your opponents elevate your game. That's why telling me you're undefeated but you ain't faced nobody don't elevate your game. You're still at one level. You want opponents to elevate it. That's why it's important to face the best competition you could face. The best facing the best. Because boxing's actually a beautiful sport in this sense. The harder you come at me in a ring, and you don't give me no, whether it's sparring or whatever, you don't give me no, you don't make it easy for me. You make it as difficult as possible. Is the more my game is going to raise, is the more I will learn, and it's the better equipped I'll be for the next fight, whether I win, lose, or draw. Because whether I win, whether I lose, or whether I draw, we're going back to the lab. You think of Michael Jordan. In the off season, Michael working on his game. We don't have the off season in boxing is in between fights, or as soon as the fight's done. Go back to the lab. You did take about 1-2 days rest. Back in the lab we go, and we're working on it. No days off. As Canelo would say. Work on your craft. The information you got from a fight, win, lose, or draw. You work on things you saw your opponent do. You work on things you realize you react to your opponent, and maybe you could have done it better. You work on the fundamentals. It makes you more confident for the next fight you have to face. You start building confidence. This weekend, Savannah Marshall won the undisputed title of the world. That does a lot for her confidence. She was a world champion at 160, moved up to 168, took the title from the undisputed champion. That means a lot. Now, when stupid fans say Franchise Cruz, she can't really box, blah, 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 you take away from Savannah Marshall's win. And Franchise Cruz can box, man. She can fight, she can box. Because she's shorter and not as long, she has to close the distance and work the body. So that's what you're seeing. Not that she can't box. She can box. She just has to close the distance. Boxing is a sport, and you guys got to get wise to it. You can't listen to any old person out there. Sometimes they say something that's correct, but you need to have a discerning eye to know when somebody is talking a load of crap, and when somebody, even a highly qualified person, when somebody's talking the truth. And the only way you're going to know that as a fan is to know boxing for yourself. All right? So you can weed through the nonsense that people talk and hold on to the things that make sense. Right? And no better way to know boxing than actually do it. Do it in a gym. Spar. Do a little bit of sparring. You know? It's great. You can do heavy sparring, you can do light sparring. It's up to you. Who you do it with? You can do it with just somebody on your level, a beginner just like you, or somebody who just goes to the gym to enjoy themselves to do a little sparring. All right? It doesn't have to be a pro, it doesn't have to be an amateur. But if you can get that work with a pro or amateur, you should do it. Boxing is a beautiful thing, man. But sometimes certain professionals and certain people, they can make it very negative. You know? I can understand if you're team this or team that. But it's another problem when you're an announcer or a commentator or supposedly an expert and you're picking sides and you're bashing one fighter like a fan, praising another. You know? But sometimes the most highly esteemed people say some dumb stuff. You know? It happens. You got to be able to sift through it. That's all I'm saying. Jared Anderson, he got some things to do in the lab, but he still could be one of America's greatest heavyweights out there. Just have a little work to do. You understand? He wasn't supposed to have this kind of step-up fight. He got it. It was a stiff test. He passed it. You know? But that's not the level he should be at. So he kind of jumped levels, took on the challenge, made it past it, but he has some work to do. That's all. That's boxing. See, to learn a lot of valuable lessons about not underestimating an opponent and that veteran experience that Charles Martin gave him. He's gonna put that in his tool bag. You know? So, they're gonna be a bit better. You know? All boxers have to go through this. Sometimes the matchmakers get a last minute replacement, and that's why sometimes fights like this happen. You know? And you know, a boxer who is eager to go through the gears and step up in levels, he never gonna say no to a challenge. You know? But sometimes the step up is too much. So the matchmakers need to know what they're doing. Like Michael Hunter's talking about. Michael Hunter's talking about facing facing Jared. That's not going to happen. Top Rank would never allow that to happen. Michael Hunter's one of those top heavyweights. That would not be good. Michael has way more experience, and at this time, Jared wouldn't be ready for that step up. So the matchmakers actually picked a good person who was on call to replace the previous opponent. And it worked out. No. Michael Hunter would have, he'd have destroyed Jared at this point in time. Two seasons, faced too many good opponents. That's not fair. Charles Martin's good, but Michael Hunter's a difficult fight for anyone. Very difficult. He and Usyk. The heavyweight nightmare. And of course, Tough Rank don't want to lose Jared Anderson. They invested in him. So that was never going to happen. Maybe down the road, though. Maybe. All right, so what you need to spend a little extra time talking about this. I think I'm done right here. You guys can check me out later on. Maybe tomorrow. I may stream something. It depends. The days are very busy. So we'll see. What you need, man. You guys have a good one. I'm sweating. The place is hot.